A Sankarshan Joshi trip.
Now that when we talk about squats, the technique that we are talking about is firstly breathing and bracing,
Hmm.
which we touched upon in the deadlifts part
Hmm.
before our electricity got out, right? So the deadlift mechanics, the breathing and bracing mechanics are used here as well, where you really try to, align your rib cage and your pelvis in such a way that the muscles in between those, your abdomen muscles, really align and they are not crooked in any way. Then you try to breathe and brace, breathe into your diaphragm and brace and try to push into 360 degrees of diaphragmatic pressure that you have to create. Like I explained it to you in the last time that we talked, the purpose of a belt. The purpose of a belt is to really cue you where you have to breathe. It's not really to protect your lower back, or else you don't really have to wear that belt really tight, because it will defeat the purpose of wearing that belt.
Okay.
The belt that we use is to really make you sure that you are breathing into your diaphragm, into your abdomen, and you are not chest breathing, your chest is not
Okay.
rising. And the point that I was talking about at the bottom of the bottom of the squat, I'm sorry, is because most of the lifts that are failed are at the bottom. People will go down and they will lose the entire tension that they have built.
Yeah.
Okay. So the entire idea of pausing at the bottom, or else using tempo where we really slow down the descent, like how they're coming down. Most people, when they try to squat, we use a term in powerlifting called sandbagging, which means that they just drop their squat.
Yeah.
They don't breathe and brace, they just drop. And they try to push it back up, when you will see that their knees are coming in, their neck is above their bar,
Bar.
and they really try to push hard as much as possible. And that won't really happen if they really paid attention to the basic concepts of breathing and bracing and maintaining that tension. So yeah, so basically if you really slow down the movement and try to hold that position into the bottom, it will make you think that the entire bar is going to fall upon you. Then you will be compelled to create that tension and hold it there, because in case you just leave it, you will fall. And you can't really start that doing at the 1 rep max, right? You will have to gradually progress onto that movement.
Yeah.
You can start from somewhere from 50-60% of your 1 rep max, and slowly gradually add weight week to week as you get stronger.
Yeah. And this is something that I realized on my own. I was also the terminology that you use, sandbagging. I think I was also doing that in a way where uh, I used to lift a lot of weight back then, but I was sandbagging in a sense where I'm like, how do I get this thing off me first?
Right.
Like your main focus is, am I lifting this weight or not, rather than I'm able to do this properly, right?
Yes.
One thing that I figured it on my own was that I was having a lot of lower back stiffness
Hmm.
when I was squatting, right?
Hmm.
And I felt that there was a lot of weight putting on my right side.
Hmm.
So then I realized that something is off and I don't know what it is.
Hmm.
So then I thought, with less weight, I started doing like pause at the bottom squat.
Hmm.
So when I was doing that, then I realized, okay. Then I thought, I'm using more of my core now, like taking a pause, and that actually helped me reduce pain, and also like my lower back stiffness, right?
Right.
That everything reduced,
Right.
because now also my mindset when I'm going down, it is not that I to escape this weight off.
Right.
Like now I have to live with this weight at the
Right.
bottom, so I'm very cautious with with the amount of weight that I carry also.
Right.
Like that actually truly exposes you to your weakness. I think that's what people want to avoid. That's why they do this sandbag thing.
Yeah. Maybe. Just to touch upon the point that you were saying, in terms of you were feeling one of your part of your body take over, and
Yeah.
that usually happens.
Compensate that.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Like we talked about last time. I believe that when your technique goes off, your body is not in the homeostasis, which is the most ideal condition for it, right? So it goes into a mode of panic, and it switches back to what feels the most best. Okay.
Hmm.
So which is why, in my opinion, it is important for us to practice good technique. Okay. Practice makes man perfect is not the right quote, in my opinion. Perfect practice makes man perfect, because I believe if you don't practice all of those lifts correctly, if you just lift the weight, if you just do the given program, won't really matter if you're not applying good technique. If the intention of doing each and every rep is not to do it to the T, you're doing it wrong, right?
Damn.
So I believe that's something that powerlifters really pay attention to. So yeah, I really got off track and forgot what I was saying.
No, I think that that's a very profound thing that you said. It's not that, practice makes man perfect. It's also practicing
Technique,
perfectly.
yeah,
And that, yeah, I think that is such a profound statement. If you're in the gym and that, I mean, like, where, like, what exactly are you focusing?
right.
Like that thing shifts, right? Like
Right.
when you are, so it's like you're practicing a dance movement,
Mm-hmm.
it's not majorly about like how fast are you doing that or not. Like when you're practicing it, like you pay a lot of attention to form, all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I started thinking exercise in general more in that aspect, like focusing more on the form.
Right.
And like it's not about how I'm lifting, sorry, how much I'm lifting. It's more of like to the best of my ability how much I can lift,
Right.
not just lifting.
Right. Yeah.
Best form, all of that.
Yeah. I believe that as we practice good technique, and as I was saying that in state of crisis, our body will
Hmm.
go back to
Yeah,
what
yeah,
what was the
yeah.
best for us. So in case your technique goes off,
Hmm.
your lower back or else any of your other aspects won't take over if
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
been practicing good technique till now.
Hmm.
So even if one thing, as in your case, you were sandbagging,
Hmm.
basically you were not breathing or bracing or
Yeah,
creating any tension. So in that case, you were going down, but in order to lift that weight up,
yeah.
none of those muscles were strong as much as your right, let's say, glute
Yes,
or else your
yes.
right leg. Okay. So that was trying to push it to the T, or else push the movement and complete the movement,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I believe if people pay attention to the technique, practice good technique, and try to engage all those smaller muscles
Hmm.
as well, where we don't really pay attention to. For example, if we are doing sumo deadlift, all right, people do heavy sumo deadlifts or else sumo deadlift for a lot of reps. People do bench press really heavy, a lot of reps. In sumo, they feel pain in their hip flexors, in their adductors near the knees. In bench press, they feel pain in their elbows, they feel pain in their shoulders, something like this. And same happens with a squat as well. They feel pain in their knee and in their lower back or else in their hips.
Hmm.
All of this stems from a point of muscle weakness, because during this bigger muscle, during this movements, the bigger muscles, like the, for example, in a squats, the quads, the glutes, the hamstrings will take over, the back will take over while doing the movement. But the smaller muscles like our hip flexors, our adductors, which are also used in sumo deadlift as well, won't be used in that same particular effect. So due to the stress that is being placed upon them, in response they give this pain.
Hmm.
That is only a way of them telling, to say us that they are
Back off.
getting recovered from it,
Yeah,
in a way, yeah,
yeah.
because they are not really prepared for that. So in a way they are trying to say us to back off, but they are not strong enough. So the next time that we try to attempt the same weight, they might be strong, but in that instance,
Hmm.
after that session, people might feel that pain,
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
and which is very common. So the direct solution to that is to take a look at what muscle is paining and try to train that in the eccentric and the concentric or else in the isometric
Hmm.
position
Yeah,
as much as
yeah.
possible.
Now my motto of working out or in general is, uh, I mean, of course, health is like a bigger umbrella,
Yeah.
but to be healthy is one of the reasons. Another thing is, how can I get stronger?
Hmm.
Like, how can I get stronger? How can I lift more weight?
Right.
And all the things that you said, right? Like assessing your weaknesses, assessing the form, assessing the parts that are not assisting you in the bigger movements.
Right.
So knowing all of these things, mm, will help you get stronger, right?
Right.
So ever since my focus was to get stronger and sustain there and get even more stronger from there. It's not that one day I just lift 100 kgs and then like even if I can or not, like by luck, if sheer luck, if I can lift it, that's not what I want, right? Like I want my strength sustained and I also want it to grow. So when my focus was that, then I started looking into all of this.
Hmm.
Had if my focus was to get ripped,
Right.
I would be thinking about how many calories did I burn, or
Right.
like how many. My focus is honestly not on getting stronger. When I started putting my whole and soul energy into that, then I started looking into this.
Hmm.
So according to you,
Hmm.
why is it important to? I am assuming that you are on same page with
Right.
me on this.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, like
Hmm.
according to you,
Hmm.
why is it important to focus on getting stronger at the gym?
Right. So one of the points that we just mentioned was that particular aspect of marker of strength or marker of progress that is definitely visible for each and everyone. Like any newbie that will go to the gym, regardless of their age, regardless of their gender, their weight as well, they will see some kind of progress once they start doing the squatting, benching, and deadlifting movement, right? Again, the squatting and benching and deadlifting movement doesn't have to be a competition specific, a powerlifting specific, powerlifting squat, powerlifting bench press with an arch, or a deadlift. Okay, it doesn't have to be that. When we talk about squat, bench, and deadlift, it consists of movements having hip flexion and knee flexion, where you are basically, a squat is where your pelvis moves down, and a hinge movement, also deadlift, is where your hips move from back to the front. You just need to involve those muscles and do that particular movement, which is going to increase the hypertrophy, the strength, the bone density of those muscles and joints around it, which are involved in that particular movement. So basically, a squat, bench, and deadlift. But that again doesn't have to be your competition specific. Like for example, if people are having back pain, one of the best exercise that they can do, or else they can substitute it for squats, is heel elevated goblet squats. So basically what you do is that from doing a low bar squat where the bar is on your rear delts, you switch the bar to a goblet, which is a kettlebell or else a dumbbell. All right, just hold it in front of your face and try to breathe in your diaphragm as much as possible, and you will feel that it is relatively much easier for you to breathe into that position, and basically create that mind muscle connection, that you are able to feel your lower back as well. And all you have to do is just sit down and sit back, come back up, and that basically mimics the squat to a T. Those involve your a lot of stress is being placed on your core muscles in that movement, and it takes stress away from your lower back and your quads. So you will feel a lot better while doing that movement. So you can incorporate the incorporate the the mechanics of squats without doing the squats
Yeah.
itself,
Yeah.
something like
So
this.
you're saying that it's not to avoid the movement.
Yes,
It's to figure out a way, like your own way of doing that
doing that.
movement. And once you feel comfortable, once you feel like, like your lower back or like all the parts that are getting used to this movement, then you can slowly probably try
Yes,
like putting
a
bar
more
on your back.
difficult position.
Huh.
A Sankarshan Joshi trip.